welcome back to Leicester Fan TV. My name is Josh. Coming up on today's show, I'm reviewing the game which has just finished between Leicester and Aston Villa at the King Power Stadium in the first leg of the Carabao Cup semi-finals. You can follow me on my personal YouTube channel, which is Sportsa. All my social media links will be in the description down below. If you are watching this on our Leicester Fan TV YouTube channel, make sure you do subscribe. But let's get into today's show. So it has just ended at the King Power Stadium. Leicester won, Aston Villa won. Not the best performances today at the King Power Stadium in the first leg of the semi-final, but it's still a decent draw heading into the second leg, which is taking place at Villa Park at the end of January. But we found it very difficult to break down the strong and resilient Aston Villa defence under Dean Smith, and the Villa really do have the advantage heading into the second leg now at home. So interestingly enough, Brendan Rodgers and Dean Smith both went with a 5 at the back formation heading into the game. So for Leicester, it was Kasper Schmeichel in goal. A back three of Christian Fuchs coming in at centre-back, Johnny Evans and Kaggle Soyuncu. The two wing-backs were Ben Chilwell and Ricardo Pereira. A midfield three of Dennis Praet, Youri Tielemans and James Maddison. That didn't work out too well, and a strike force of Ayoze Perez and Jamie Vardy. It was a very attacking side by Brendan Rodgers, and we really struggled to break through the defence, even with a very attacking lineup. So on paper, it was a decent formation to go with, but it really didn't work out. But in particular, the three-man midfield did not work out very well at all. A very attacking-minded midfield that was made up of Dennis Praet, Youri Tielemans and James Maddison. Like I said, very attacking-minded midfield. No one to really go in that defensive role like Wilfred Ndidi usually does. Obviously, no Wilfred Ndidi in the matchday squad. He's going to be out for up to a month, 4 weeks, something like that, with a knee problem. He's having surgery on that in the coming days. So no Wilfred Ndidi. It's going to be very hard to live without him. And like I said, no Wilfred Ndidi. We have no one to stop the likes of Jack Grealish coming into that role in between the defence and midfield, where Wilfred Ndidi likes to operate, and that really did show it in today's game. I also thought that the 3/5 at the back didn't work out very well as well. Against Newcastle, it worked very well, but in today's game, it really didn't work out. I thought it didn't give us as much width as we like. If we went with wingers, it really would have stretched that Villa defence out. In particular, in the second half, where Aston Villa were really camped in their box, really defending for their lives. I mean, the only width we had was the two wing backs. So I thought with the two strikers up front, we could have just went with one with Jamie Vardy. Played two wingers, it would have stretched the Villa defence out, and there would have been more spaces with Jamie Vardy to run into. And that was probably the biggest problem in the game. It was very compact in the middle as well, with a three-man midfield, the wing-backs, not as much width, and Ayoze Perez and Vardy up front. It was very compacted in the middle, and it did allow Leicester to break through that Villa defence very easily. It also did show it in the first half as well. We really found it difficult to break through that Aston Villa defence. So fair play to Dean Smith and Aston Villa for setting it up that way, but I really did think that Brendan Rodgers should have lined up with a different formation, which we're more used to. But the main positive is that we're still in the tie, 1-1 heading to Villa Park. It's going to be very difficult to head to Wembley now. Obviously, the Villa Park atmosphere is going to be very good. It's going to be very hard to take a result there and try and get to Wembley to the final. But I'm still confident that we can do so, and at least we're still in the game. But getting into the game itself, Leicester dominated the first 20 minutes or so. But we still found it very difficult to break through that Aston Villa defence. Ayoze Perez, when it closed, Jamie Vardy had a couple of half chances. Jamie Vardy didn't look to his normal self today. Obviously, coming back from injury, he's not going to be back to full fitness. But I really did think that Jamie Vardy could have took a few chances away in the game. But overall, the first 25-20 minutes or so, Leicester played very well, but we just couldn't break through. But Aston Villa grew into the game as the first half came to a close. They went on another counter-attack. The ball was whipped in from the left-hand side for them, and Gilbert was there to tap it in ahead of Ben Chilwell. That gave Aston Villa the lead heading into the half-time break. It was a decent move by Aston Villa, obviously going on the counter-attack again. I thought that was going to happen quite a lot with the 3-5 at the back formation. I thought they would really bomb forward on the counter and cause Leicester a few problems, and they really did there. Gilbert with the goal. I thought Leicester could have defended it a little bit better, in particular with Ben Chilwell at left back. But yeah, a decent goal by Aston Villa, and that gave them the 1-0 lead. But Leicester were lucky to head into half-time at 1-0. Aston Villa hit the bar through a Konsa header, I do believe. Leicester really struggling to defend crosses. That's going to be interesting to see how Brendan Rodgers deals with that. But luckily for us, it was only 1-0 heading into the half-time break. But heading into the second half, Brendan Rodgers made a very good substitution, which was vital in the change in the game. And it was vital with Leicester getting level in the game. Hamza Chowdhury came on for Dennis Praet. Obviously, Hamza Chowdhury operates in the same role as Wilfred Ndidi does, sits in front of the defence and takes players out of the game, such as Jack Grealish, and it really did work. So fair play for Brendan Rodgers and Hamza Chowdhury for doing a good job. But Leicester started off the second half very well. We had a couple of half chances here and there. We really put that Aston Villa defence on the back foot. We won a lot of corners, interestingly enough. We didn't do too much with them, but we still struggled to break through that Aston Villa defence in large parts of the second half. But a change was needed. We had a couple of half chances, but it wasn't really anything clear cut. Kelechi Iheanacho came on for Ayoze Perez. Hamza Chowdhury won it from a Villa free kick. got onto the ball. Kelechi Iheanacho had it from Jamie Vardy and a brilliant finish into the back of the net from Kelechi Iheanacho, who scores once again for Leicester. He's becoming a bit of a Leicester legend so far this season, and hopefully he can keep that up. But yeah, Kelechi Iheanacho got Leicester level, and we were really pushing Villa to try and get the win heading into the second leg. But Leicester really put Aston Villa on the back foot once again in the last 10 minutes or so. We had a couple of big chances here and there with Jamie Vardy in particular, but it wasn't enough to get the win, and it wasn't enough to have that advantage going into the second leg. But overall, the comeback was a good one, and it's still decent going into the second leg with a 1-1 draw. But that's it for my thoughts on the game, so let's get straight into my player ratings. This is where I rate each player's performance out of 10 from the start it started today against Aston Villa at the King Power Stadium. To start off in goal with Kasper Schmeichel, I'm going to give him a 7 out of 10. I thought Kasper had a decent performance today. Couldn't do too much about the Aston Villa opening it through Gilbert, but, you know, a decent game by Schmeichel, didn't really have too much to do. Obviously, Aston Villa limited to only about 5 or so big chances, but overall, his distribution was good, and overall, a solid game from Kasper Schmeichel in goal. But now moving into the back three, so started off with Kagawa Soyuncu. I'm going to give him a 7 out of 10. I thought Kagawa had a very good game today against Aston Villa. Like I said, didn't have too much to do, couldn't do anything about the Gilbert goal, and overall, he did what he needed to do. Got forward a lot as well, tried to get Leicester on the front foot, trying to break through Aston Villa defence. So yeah, good performance from Soyuncu today. The other centre-back with Johnny Evans, another 7 out of 10 for him. A very solid performance from Johnny Evans. Did very well defensively, didn't do anything wrong in particular, and overall had a decent game. So yeah, 7 out of 10 for Evans. And finally with Christian Fuchs, another 7 out of 10 for him. An average performance from the back line. Couldn't really do anything about the Gilbert goal in my opinion. So yeah, another solid performance from Christian Fuchs coming in at centre-back. But moving into the two wing-backs, to start off with the right one with Ricardo Pereira. I'm going to give him a 6 out of 10 for his performance tonight. I thought it wasn't the best of performances for Ricardo. I know it probably sounds very harsh, but with Ricardo's standards he set, I really thought he could have done a little bit more and try and get that Aston Villa defence a little bit more. But overall, it was a solid performance from Ricardo. So yeah, 6 out of 10 for him. I know it's a little bit harsh, but I really thought Ricardo could have done a little bit more tonight. Moving into the left wing-back position with Ben Chilwell, I'm going to give him a 5 out of 10. I thought Ben Chilwell had another poor performance tonight. Sorry to say, but for the Gilbert goal, I think he could have done a little bit more to step across the oncoming full-back or the wing-back. But going forward, didn't really offer anything as well, kept passing it back. That really frustrated a lot of the Leicester fans, and probably right. But overall, Ben Chilwell, another poor performance. I'm not too sure what is he going to play on the weekend against Southampton. Let me know in the comment section down below. But yeah, 5 out of 10 for Ben Chilwell, disappointing. Now moving into the three-man midfield, to start off with Youri Tielemans. I'm going to give him a 5 out of 10. A very poor performance from Youri Tielemans today. Bad to hear that once again. Obviously arrived in the summer for £40 million and he really hasn't lived up to expectation. Tonight, very poor performance from the Belgium international. Really couldn't get hold of the ball, really couldn't create anything in midfield and lost the ball on quite a few occasions. But yeah, a poor performance from Youri is a 5 out of 10, but hopefully he can improve in the Premier League against Southampton next up. The other midfielder with Dennis Praet, I'm going to give him a 7 out of 10. I thought Dennis Praet did well. Surprised that he got took off. He really showed the only energy in midfield, especially in the first half. So fair play for Dennis Praet having a good go. So yeah, 7 out of 10 for him. And moving in front of him with James Maddison, 6 out of 10 for Maddison. Likewise with Tielemans and Ricardo, they really didn't live up to their high standards which they got set in, especially last season and a bit this season in particular with Ricardo and Maddison. Yeah, 6 out of 10 for Maddison. I thought he really could have done a little bit more. A special mention to Hamza Chowdhury. I'm going to give him an 8 out of 10. For Hamza Chowdhury had a very good performance. Obviously played only one half, came on in the second half, and I thought it was brilliant in midfield. So yeah, 8 out of 10 for Hamza Chowdhury tonight. And I'm finally moving into the front two. So start off with the right one with Ayoze Perez. Going to give him a 6 out of 10. Really lacked energy, especially in the first half. He came into it a little bit in the second half. Obviously got took off for Kelechi Iheanacho. But yeah, not the best of performances, Ayoze Perez. Nearly got on the score sheet in the first half of that effort, which was deflected wide. But yeah, not the best of performances from Ayoze Perez. And the other striker with Jamie Vardy, I'm going to give him a 6 out of 10. He got into the right positions, but he really lacked that finishing edge. He had a couple of chances which we all really expected Jamie Vardy to put away. So yeah, not the best of performances from Vardy, but I'm sure he's going to bounce back against Southampton on the weekend. So 6 out of 10. So that's it for my Leicester versus Aston Villa match review. Not the best of performances, but at least we're still in the tie. It could be only one's game at Villa Park at the end of January in the second leg. But we move on to Southampton back in Premier League action on the weekend. Hopefully we can get 3 points from that one. I don't think it's going to be 9-0 once again, but you never know. We could bounce back with another 9-0 win, but I don't think it will be that, guys. But yeah, if you could follow my personal YouTube channel, which is Sportsa, all my social media links will be in the description down below. If you are watching this on our Leicester Fan TV YouTube channel, make sure you subscribe, guys. But that's been it for my match review for Leicester versus Aston Villa, Southampton on the weekend, guys. But yeah, keep it Leicester City.